welcome back to the weekly sports table on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. I am your host, Chris Shanafelt, and we are actually now joined by a very special guest, and that is Cincinnati Bengals linebacker and special teams ace, Jayson DiManche. Jayson, thanks for joining the show. How's it going?
It's going great, man. Just got done running on the field right now. Feeling good.
How was that off-season, man? Did that off-season treat you right?
Off-season, man. It's the best off-season I've had since I've been playing ball. It was fun, man. Got to go a lot of places, take a couple of trips. Went to Mexico, San Diego, planning a couple more other trips. And, been all over the place and helping out, doing things in the community. So, it's been a blessing.
Sounds great. Now, Jayson, we're only 16 days away from the 2014 NFL Draft. Can you just start off by telling us, what you were doing a little over 2 weeks before last year's NFL Draft, and what was the process like leading up to it?
2 weeks this time last year, 2 weeks, man, I was still grinding. I was looking forward to the draft, but I knew that when me getting drafted was kind of a long shot. Coming from where I was, a small school guy and, had a couple days. I didn't have any off the field issues, but I knew what the deal was, and my agent told me that, and it was very clear to me. But, just really hoping and praying and working hard in the weight room and on the field, trying to make myself the best football player possible, trying to keep the draft out of my mind and just looking at my competition and looking at what I need to do to be a productive player in the NFL.
And with the draft being right around the corner, what advice would you give some of the guys that are going to go undrafted or, be a late-round pick that aren't guaranteed a spot on an NFL roster?
Well, I just tell those guys at this point it's out of their hands. It's in the hands of the teams and the GMs and all the people making those decisions. Right now, all they can do is make themselves the best possible football player they can, the best possible person that they can to make themselves as valuable as they can. That's the most important thing. And all you want to do is increase your value every day. That's what my main focus was, and that's what your focus is. You can't really worry or focus about whether you're going to get drafted or if you don't get drafted. Just work hard, and if you go undrafted, make a decision for your family and for you, and make a decision that will benefit you in every way, and go and do everything you can to make that squad.
The weekly sports table on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. We're talking with Cincinnati Bengals linebacker Jayson DiManche. And Jayson, you joined a pretty nice linebacking core with Vontaze Burfict, Ray Malugo, James Harrison, etc. What were some things that you were able to take from their game to make your game better?
Coming in when I was after the draft last year and when I had to decide where I wanted to go, I knew that Cincinnati had a good linebacker room, had some vets and some guys that had done a lot of things in the league, like Vontaze and James and Ray and Emmanuel and Vinny Ray and all those guys. And I knew what the competition was, but, a guy like me, I really look forward to that type of competition. And I knew I'd be able to take a lot from those guys. And I knew I'd be able to compete with those guys on any level. So coming in, I was just excited to be in the room with some of my favorite players in the NFL. And, guys like James, I've been watching him since I started watching football. And Vontaze, I've been following him since high school. So it was just a great honor. God just really blessed me with the opportunity to join the team and join that group.
You guys finished last season 11-5. You guys hosted the San Diego Chargers in the wild card round of the playoffs, and it was a tough one. You guys lost 27-10, but being an undrafted player from a smaller school in Southern Illinois, you're able to play in every game this past season for the Cincinnati Bengals, Jayson. And during that 11th game of the season against the Browns, you were able to block a punt, even though the season didn't end, as you guys wanted it to. I can't think you view it as a failure. How exactly would you describe your first year in the NFL?
My first year was a great experience. I think I did a lot of good things. I think there was a lot more things that I could have done. That first year, I learned so much, and I'm ready to take everything I learned into this year. I did some good things. Whatever the outside sources may say, the coaches and the people here in the building in Cincinnati, they have a lot of high expectations for me, and those expectations will never exceed my expectations for myself. So it was a good year last year, but it's over now. It's a successful year. Made some plays, was productive, like I said before, but that season's over. All I can do is learn from it, and I'm ready to make a big jump this season and be an exceptional player this year and do a lot of great things.
Hey, Jayson, it's Jason Thomas here. You had mentioned in one of your questions earlier about getting to choose where you which team that you were going to be able to play for. Did you find that to be an advantage? I've heard a lot of players say that they would rather go undrafted than, say, get drafted in the 6th or 7th round because they can choose what fits them best. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I agree with that. After that 5th round went through and I saw that my name didn't get called, I was pretty much like, hey, I kind of rather go undrafted and decide where I'm going to play at and have a bigger impact, and, best myself as a football player, and that's why I chose Cincinnati. When you go undrafted, it's tough sometimes psychologically, emotionally. Everybody wants to hear their name called, but really going undrafted can be a blessing in disguise. Who knows what other team I would have been on, where I would have been at, but I know no matter where I would have gone or if I were to get drafted, I would have competed the same way and given myself the best opportunity to be on that 53-man roster. So going undrafted may have been a blessing in disguise, but I think if I would have gotten drafted, I would have been able to compete with anybody at any program or any team.
Jayson DiManche joined the weekly sports table on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. And the Bengals have made a lot of changes this offseason, Jason. Offensive coordinator Jay Gruden took the head coaching job in Washington, and Mike Zimmer, who was a great defensive coordinator for a long time there in Cincinnati, took the Vikings head coaching job. What are your thoughts on those changes, and how do you think Gaither would do as a defensive coordinator this year?
Those changes are a positive thing. When you are a successful establishment, people are going to want, the people that you have. They want your guys, and it's an honor to have, our coaches going to other places and getting opportunities to be head coaches and move up in the NFL world at, other places. It's really a blessing, and I'm really glad and proud that, Coach Gruden and Coach Zimmer were able to move on and kind of add to their resume. They were great while they were here, and, I really do wish them the best of luck. I think Coach Gunther, I was in the room with him all last year. He's really a guy that banged the table for me when I was the last year before the draft, trying to get me drafted. So, I have a whole bunch of love and respect for him. And I think he's going to do an awesome job as a defensive coordinator just because he's such an intelligent guy. He always tells us knowledge is power. And if that's the case, then, he's a real powerful guy in this building, and I think he's going to do great this season. And I'm looking forward to what he has in store for us defensively and what he has in store for me and how he'll be running things, as compared to Coach Zimmer last year. But I think he's going to do a great job, and I'm looking forward to it. I shouldn't be any letdown this year. If anything, it should be escalated.
Another change, Jason, was, James Harrison. The team released him a little over a month ago, and it looks as if that you'll be battling for a starting job this season. Are you confident that you could be a starting linebacker in the NFL this season and take over for Harrison?
Coming into my second year in the league, after playing special teams and playing a little bit on defense and watching guys and going through that camp, I'm very confident that, I'm able to play linebacker in this league and be a starter, every down in this league. I learned so much from those guys like James last year and guys like Vontaze in that room and Vinny Ray. You see those guys. It doesn't matter if you're a starter, backup, whatever. When you're on that field, we're taught to just make plays. And when I'm on that field, that's all I'm ever really thinking about. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm not thinking about any mistakes I made or the last play. All I'm ever thinking about is doing everything I can to make the next play. And that's all of our mentality. And that's why I think, with James leaving, that opens the door for myself and, a lot of other guys in that room. And I know I'm going to be battling my tail off to win that job. But whatever the case may be, anytime I step foot on that football field, I'm going to be looking to make a play. So it's going to be a lot of fun this camp, a lot of competition, like I'm used to. And we're going to see what happens. But I'm really excited. I'm really confident going into my second year.
And final question for you, Jason. You mentioned right there in the beginning of the interview that you just finished working out. 19 teams, including the Bengals, started their voluntary off-season workouts yesterday, which of course means the season is coming up soon. What are your expectations for your second year in the NFL?
My expectations are to just, blow last season out the water. Just do that much better, be even more productive on special teams, make more tackles, hopefully affect more punts. Become a better blocker on special teams, on the return teams. Have such a better understanding of special teams and so much more respect after not really playing it in college for special teams. And, it makes you just appreciate the game that much more. And I also expect myself to play a lot of linebacker, to get my stats up at that. And really, I just expect myself to help the team out in any way possible, you know, any way that they call me out there, put me on the field to help the team. You know, if they tell me to go out there, DN and rush, they tell me to go out there and play middle linebacker, I'll do it. So whatever the team asks me to do, I'm going to do it and do it to the best of my ability, and I know that I'll be able to do it better than I did last season.
Well, I'm excited to see what you do this season, man. I'm really looking forward to it, and I really appreciate you joining the weekly sports table here on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Jayson, I'm wishing you nothing but the best, man. Thanks.
Oh, no, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
There he goes, Jayson DiManche, Cincinnati Bengals linebacker, special teams ace, and, of course, SIU alum.